Hi, everyone. Welcome to Americanish, where we talk about culture, love, faith, and everything in between. My name's Adela Kochav.
And I'm Mariam and we are the Daughters of Diaspora. So this week we're talking about some fun stuff. We're actually going to talk about superstitions in both our cultures, Syrian, Lebanese, and Egyptian, Arab, in Arab as a scope. So Adela, why don't you start off by telling me, do you have any superstitions?
Yes. So, as a Syrian Jew, we have a ton of very weird superstitions, but I've been learning that specifically my family has even weirder ones. So, for example, when we get a new home or apartment, we anoint the corners with birdseed and oil and say a prayer in Aramaic. I've spoken to other Syrian Jews. They apparently don't do this. So I don't know if my family practices witchcraft, but my apartment seems to be safe. So that's been wonderful. But one thing I think has been universal among Syrian, Lebanese Jews is the concept of evil eye, right? So you never want to have the evil eye on you. You never want people to either be jealous or be talking about you or have yourself in their eye. So there's a couple of ways to combat it. Sometimes that's why you'll see people wearing eye bracelets or, Hamza hands. That's to keep away the evil eye. But my grandma has a white rock called a shepe that she sews into my dresses. That way no one will give you the evil eye. She also gives us these white rocks to hang above our doors. Again, I've spoken to Syrian Jews. We all agree that the evil eye is a thing. No one sews white rocks into their dresses. And I actually found out about this. I was at a wedding and I was like to my friends, oh, my rock is so uncomfortable. Where is yours? And they're like, your what? I'm like, my shepe. They're like, what? I'm like, the white rock for the evil eye. And they're like, no, we don't do this.
That's hilarious.
What about you? Do you have any weird superstitions?
Two come to mind, but I want to say, so you say a prayer in Aramaic?
Yes.
That is absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
So in my work at the Philos Project, we have this really cool project called Galilee 2030. And our two fellows on the ground in Israel and Jesh, Naveen and Shadi, wonderful people, are working to revive the Aramaic language. For those of you who don't know, Aramaic is an ancient language, it's a dead language, and it's the language that we believe was spoken by Jesus. And there's text and scriptures and prayers that are done in Aramaic. So for you to tell me that you guys pray in Aramaic too, that's fascinating to see that cross intersection.
Yep. Specifically when we anoint the corners of our homes with
oil.
But we actually, it's funny because we talked about Passover in another episode, but in Passover, we actually have a couple of prayers that we say in Aramaic.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We have a lot of Aramaic in Sephardic Jewish culture.
Yeah, we got to dig into that one day.
Gotta dig into that.
Okay, two superstitions. One, in the Egyptian culture, shoes can't be flipped upside down. So the soles of the shoe, if you take your shoes off in an Arab household when you walk in, and I'm sure you guys do that too, right?
It depends on the home.
Yeah. Okay. We take shoes off when we walk into somebody's house, and the shoes can't be flipped upside down. So if somebody passes by and kicks the shoe or something, it can't face up. And I actually did a project in high school about why this is and the roots of this superstition. And it's said to be that the soles of the shoe, the dirty part of the shoe, the one that touches the ground, can't face up because it can't face up at the gods.
Oh.
So I mean, it is a pharaonic ancient Egyptian superstition, and I don't believe in gods per se, but I still do it. Anytime I see a shoe flipped upside down, I have to flip it back. And it's also said that if two people's shoes are flipped, so let's say there's a bunch of shoes and one of my shoes and one of your shoes are flipped at the same time, it means we're going to get into a fight.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's predicting that we're going to have an altercation of some sort. So you're supposed to, I go flip mine and you go flip yours as a way to settle our business before it even takes place. Wow. So that's the one that comes to mind.
It's want to take this outside. Yeah. Your shoe has been flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, what if you just flip somebody's shoe?
Yeah, and look at them and be like,
what's up?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to trace where all of these superstitions come from. But end of the day, I know it kind of connects me to my family, connects me to my grandma. As crazy as it is, I can't imagine, walking out and not having a rock inside my dress. That would be bizarre.
Yeah.
So as crazy as these superstitions can be, I think that like they're a nice way to remember tradition. And you know what? You're never being too careful.
Yep.
We don't know why we have these superstitions, so you might as well just abide by them, you know?
Yeah. There's this other one that I don't know why I keep this one, but my mom, growing up in Egypt, we'd sweep my dad's workshop because he's a carpenter and you have sawdust and all that stuff. And I was always told sweep out. So you don't like sweep in. So you start at the very back of the workshop or whatever, your house, and you sweep everything out. And you're not supposed to push it back in because you're pushing the dirt and the evil back into your home. So even now when I Swiffer in my apartment, I always start from the very back and bring it all the way to the front and make sure like no dust goes back to where I started, because that signifies that you're letting evil and you're letting the evil eye get back into your home.
Wow.
And it's so like, it's just ingrained in me at this point. There's really no logic to it.
Well, one that's ingrained in me now is we have a lot of traditions that relate to death, unfortunately, a lot of superstitions. And one of them is that when you're going to eat an egg, you have to put salt on it. And the reason why is because eggs are round. So traditionally, if you're mourning, one of the foods that you eat as a mourner is a hard-boiled egg to symbolize that life is a cycle. And you don't eat it with any condiments or any salts or anything like that. So to differentiate and show that you are not in mourning, then you put salt on the egg.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like a hardcore, like it's like a known thing. Like we go to a restaurant, they bring the eggs. We're like, oh, like where's the salt? And we just put it on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think salt has a ton of superstitions attached to it. Like we all know like the whole like, oh, spill salt, and like that's not a Jewish thing. I don't know where that comes from. But I've spoken to some Russian friends, and for them it's also like they have a ton of weird traditions around salt and bread, weird superstitions. But yeah, I think again that you can't be too safe. So I want to learn about your superstitions. I will be slippering my apartment from the inside out, keeping all of the evil outside the home.
Make sure your shoes are flipped up.
Make sure my shoes are always flipped up. Yeah. Duh.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to hearing your weird and crazy superstitions and probably abiding by them. We will see you next time on Americanish.